This video talks about basics of data loss prevention or a DLP solution. For any DLP solution, most important thing is to know what data is important and where that data is stored. So we generally begin with personally identifiable information or PII. PII can be your name, date of birth, social security number, account number, home address, and there are many forms of PII. Anything that is helpful to identify yourself as an entity or a person, that is PII. Some organizations, however, have personal health information. It is usually common for healthcare providers and health insurance companies to maintain that information. Personal health information is also called protected health information. However, PHI is the common name for both. So, PHI can contain health insurance information, lab results, mental health conditions. This is where it becomes serious if it is going to the wrong hands. There are some other examples of important data. Some organizations have their own formulas, some have their intellectual property, uh, building designs, blueprints, and stuff like that. So there are certain types of data, and there are different techniques to secure that data. And we will learn in upcoming videos how to identify that data and how to secure that data and how to use those techniques. But first, the question is whose job it is to protect the data. So obviously, if it is my data, I'll be very careful about it. However, I have to share that data with different organizations. Like I have to share that information with the hospitals, with the tax authorities, and then it becomes their job to keep my data secure and within the reach of only authorized people. So governments and regulatory bodies take this responsibility, and they form set of regulations and compliance. These rules, compliance regulations and stuff uh, is imposed on the organizations, and for any organization to make sure that they remain in the business, these compliance requirements are checked periodically, yearly or quarterly, depending on the requirement. So all of these GDPR, HIPAA, they have their own set of requirements. They have their own criteria to monitor and watch. And there are certain regulations. Of course, penalties are imposed if compliance is not met. Businesses has a challenge to make sure that they are complying to each of these, whatever is applicable to their type of business. In order to make sure that they are compliant, organizations usually take the help of acceptable use policies and data security policies. There are internal audit teams that are making sure that before the third party audit, their organizations are compliant. And all of this process, of course, cannot be manual, because it will be very tedious and it will not be foolproof. That is why organizations use different set of tools. So most common combination is uh, DLP solution combined with data classification and encryption solution. So these three solutions basically help to secure the data and reduce the risk of data exfiltration, be it intentional or unintentional. There are different types of data. Data in motion is referred to the data that is going out of the organization in the form of email or web traffic. There's data in use. Maybe there are piles of data being researched by the researchers or by the data mining tools. So that is data in use. Then there is data at rest, that is sometimes referenced or used for the official requirements or the business requirements. So once we are able to categorize and identify the data as data in motion or in use or data at rest, it becomes easier for the DLP solution to enforce certain policies and make sure that this data remains within the boundaries. So, when we talk about boundaries, organizations set up their data boundaries based on types of their data and type of devices and means they are using to run their business. So, these are some of the examples, like outbound email. If email is going outside the organization, that means it is crossing the organization's boundary and going outside. Similar is the case with web posts and web forms. Then there are cloud shares. If organization is using their own cloud share, mm, or they have their own tenant and data is stored onto the cloud, of course, this is remaining within the boundary of that organization. However, if they are sharing this data with another organization, with a third party entity, where it is shared onto their cloud, or cloud drive, that means that data has crossed our organization's boundary and has been handed over to someone else. Now, at this point, when the data crosses a boundary, we are not in control of that data. So, everything we have to do is to make sure that only right type and amount of data crosses the boundary. So, some other examples are USB drives and printouts. Of course, we are usually allowed to take printouts of all kinds of data within the organization when we are in the office premises. But if someone is able to sneak some of the important information sheets outside the organization, it has crossed the boundary. So, because data loss prevention solutions own limitations are to the print servers or printers, we will make sure that policies are enforced so no one can take a printout of secret or confidential documents. Same comes with network shares. However, network shares becomes a little tricky because network shares are intended to keep organizations' data safe and at the same time accessible to everyone. So, uh, data loss prevention solution is usually used to scan network shares which are accessible or open to everyone within the organization. And one example is like if HR is maintaining employees' data, it should be accessible to HR department only and should not be shared with the IT department or finance department unless it is required. So this is where the data boundaries are very important. So these are some of the basic concepts and ideas on which every DLP solution is built. There are different features and there are different techniques that a DLP solution uses. Different vendors come up with different combination of solutions. Some has data loss prevention, classification, and encryption built into one. Some has separate components for each and everything. um, However, there are some limitations for our DLP solution, like it is unable to inspect the inbound data because it is only concerned about the egress points or where data will be going outside the organization. It cannot monitor the access of a file, like how many times someone tried to open a file. Definitely, that is not the job of DLP. DLP is only concerned about data that is crossing the boundary. Um, Malware detection is also something data loss prevention solution cannot do. It reads the text files, Word files, PDF, pictures, anything you can name, but it cannot detect any malware. Decryption is also not a feature of a DLP solution. Um, However, it gets help from encryption solutions. So maybe we can place encryption solution um, integrated with the DLP solution, so it can read encrypted data, or it can decrypt or re-encrypt the data if it feels this data can cross the organization boundary. Similarly, uh, DLP solution cannot initiate an MX lookup. In simple words, it is not able to send email outside the organization by searching for the recipient domain and initiating the whole process of SMTP communication. Rather, a DLP solution is only capable to initiate the SMTP connection within organization, or maybe outside the organization to a known host. This is how DLP solution sometimes inspects outbound email and then sends it to the next hop, which is actually responsible to search and deliver email to the organization or entity outside your organization. So these are some of the basic concepts of a DLP solution, and we will be discussing more about them in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.